Gendy is an animation legend known for works like Samurai Jack and Primeval, among others, and is now back with a story he's been trying to tell for over 20 years now on HBO Max, Unicorn Warriors Eternal. This is a very complex world and story, as is often the case with Gendy's more serious projects, so with 3 episodes out now, I thought I'd talk about the story thus far, as well as the crazy mythological influences behind it. Unicorn Warriors Eternal opens in ancient Egypt, where 3 great warriors are fighting a fiery serpent figure. They defeat the snake, something their leader Merlin had foreseen, but he also knew that the serpent spirit would gather its strength back, and thus he would need the only warriors capable of tearing him apart to come back over and over again to defeat him. To do this, Merlin had to come from the future with a robot known as Copernicus. While Merlin himself has the power to travel time, there appears to be something stopping him from doing this job himself. Copernicus seems to be built to survive just about anything and has the power to shoot the souls of this trio into the bodies of new people. He seems to be extremely sturdy, designed to withstand time, as well as repair himself in case of any injuries. With his help, the trio are reborn throughout time and space under the banner of the Unicorn, a powerful figure from the realm of magic. Following this, the trio are resurrected into an early Viking period where they are seen fighting the fiery serpent who, in the water, inspires the Norse legends of sea serpents and the story of Thor one day slaying a giant serpent. From there, the 3 reincarnate throughout history, inspiring legends all over the world of 3 great beings fighting an evil beast, with a strange 4th being watching over them who represents time. In one instance, the sorceress Melinda is even inserted into the body of Saint Genevieve, a prominent historical figure born in the 5th century known for her role in Paris. The big twist is that in industrializing London, the sorceress suddenly finds herself fused into the body of a teenage high society girl named Emma. Previously, the fusion had only ever been done with an adult body, but coming back in the form of a teenager gave Melinda shattered memories and stopped her from properly integrating with Emma, who takes control of the body and wishes to return to her life, where she was just about to get married. On her team is Srang, a warrior who sees the spirit world, allowing him to help locate mystical beings like the serpent in the physical world. He was projected into the body of a child who is unable to entirely understand the spirit world that he has tapped into. The only one to come back somewhat properly is the elf Idrid, who cannot understand why Copernicus would insert the souls of Melinda and Srang into such unconventional vessels. Now, the world of Unicorn Warriors Eternal is very much its own, even when it takes inspiration from ours. However, when we enter the age of industrializing London, it's suddenly much more advanced than it was in our world. I like to think that the use of real-world history like Saint Genevieve was to inform us that this timeline is meant to resemble our own as much as possible, but something went horribly wrong, and now we have robots other than Copernicus existing in 1800s London. It is robots specifically that awaken Copernicus, with Idrid indicating later in episode 2 that he, like the others, were awakened early. Merlin foresaw that the serpent would keep coming back and attacking human existence, thus he used time travel to create something that could withstand the test of time to keep coming back with the warriors. At some point, the serpent seemed to realize this too, and either managed to get to the future, or used whatever information he has on Copernicus to influence a new society and change the course of human future. When Copernicus rises into the air after beating away the robots who woke him up, he looks over at the industrialized London as it's not meant to be like this. The robots appear to be sent by a strange woman, herself infused with the power of the serpent or being his human actor. The serpent, as I call him, really takes on many forms, and one form we end up seeing in the magic realm through the eyes of young Srang is that of a 9-tailed fox. The 9-tailed fox is part of a pattern of trickster spirits found throughout the world, with the 9-tailed fox specifically being a trickster spirit in Japanese myth. The 9-tailed fox is believed to get its tails 1 century at a time, slowly growing until it gets 9, and then one day can become a human. Trickster foxes in mythology have a lot of similarities to the tricksters in other mythologies as well, including European mythologies, where the giant serpent is actually the son of the trickster spirit Loki, who mythologically is similar to various trickster fox figures. The idea that the future has been altered is something the spirit of Srang says outright when talking to the young boy he is fusing with. He states that the future has been altered, but that there is still time to fix things. Copernicus thus was supposed to be awakened sometime in the future to revive the 3 warriors, but the trickster fox had managed to somehow alter the timeline by getting their hands on their own robots and industrializing London. Copernicus seemed to know exactly when and where he was supposed to be, so when things went wrong, I imagine it was his job to calculate the best possible outcome he could to stop the trickster fox. Copernicus thus would invest the souls of the unicorn into 3 beings who weren't prepared for it and weren't originally meant to receive the souls. This seems like an illogical option to the characters, but Copernicus is likely able to calculate the odds of all possibilities of his actions, constantly trying to guide humanity to the right future by knowing just when to bring the unicorn warriors back. As Sreng explains, it may not make sense now, but one day it all will, indicating that it was only these 3 people that could take the souls of the warriors to get the good ending, one where not everyone may be saved, but where at least as many people as possible can be. In episode 3, we even meet 2 characters who seem to be the originally intended vessels of Idrid and Genevieve, 2 people who are descendants of the previous incarnations and even trained their whole lives for this. The police joke about this meaning that they were not chosen, since others ended up taking the souls, but really it's about the best probable outcome after the trickster foxes made changes to history. In episode 2, she makes a little rhyme about how she was trying to prevent their resurrection, but since they were improperly awakened, she still can use that to her advantage and make it their last resurrection, not realizing that Copernicus has already planned for this, and whatever the trickster fox might do will only inevitably lead to their good ending, no matter how traumatic or out of order it may seem to someone like Emma in the present. The nine-tailed fox in mythology is said to be trying to turn human, and I imagine that the spirit this fox descends from is essentially trying to own physical creation, to be the humans who control the world. Serpent figures are often portrayed in mythology as being an evil that wants to reshape the world in its image, a fallen figure who wants to twist God's creations away from him and make it their own paradise. I imagine the nine-tailed fox in this strangely humanoid form is that idea coming to fruition, with the plan being to use the robots to replace all of the humans, allowing for the trickster spirit to rule the world with an army of robots to serve and build, but no humans remaining that the great unicorn warriors could reincarnate into. As the series progresses, it will largely deal with Melinda in Emma's body, as they are constantly fighting for control. Melinda has a sacred duty, but Emma wasn't the person originally meant to receive her and had her own life planned. It's Emma's emotions that seem to control her powers as well as turn them off, something the trickster fox will try to use to their advantage. Interestingly, when the trio were first fighting the serpent in ancient Egypt, Melinda is attacked by the serpent, and it is her who destroys the serpent. While attacked by the serpent, Melinda can hear a voice calling her name, and according to Sreng, Melinda is very hurt, not just physically, but seemingly spiritually. This seems to hail back to the Garden of Eden narrative, where Eve is convinced to eat a fruit of forbidden knowledge by the serpent, who in this case seems to invest her with some vision of the future, some glimpse of it when he attacks Melinda. This sets up the prophecy of the Eden narrative too, which states that the serpent and the descendants of Eve will be trapped in a battle where the serpent bites the descendants' heel and they will crush the serpent's head. But what do you guys think? Let me know your theories for this series in the comments down below, as well as what other topics you may want me to break down. Hit that subscribe button, as we'll probably be making new videos as new episodes come out, and we've got 7 more coming this season. See you guys then.